You're always busy. There's never a dull moment. The choices that we make in our job are life-altering.
A lot of us have had very difficult days. I think that that's just part of the job.
Yes, we do work with children, but really we work with the parents more.
Children's lives can be on the line. This is child safety. This is important work.
I feel like I played a big role in making sure that that child was taken care of.
And the smiles on the parents' faces were just priceless.
So your heart really has to be in it. Our primary goal is to work with the parents and help them with building a safe home so that if their children are taken away from them, they can be safely placed back in the home.
So what happens in our line of work is maybe a community member or a teacher may call a safety concern in to the county, and it goes into initial assessment, and those workers go to court, and with the judge and legal parties, the judge has to decide that the child is in need of protection or services, and then that's where we come in.
So when children are removed from their parents' care because of concerns about safety or because they're at risk of abuse or neglect, the case manager's primary goal is to have the children reunified back with that parent.
We case manage with the families, with the caregivers, with court parties, and basically build a team to help the family be reunified with their children.
We meet with the families, learn about them, gauge their strengths, see their weaknesses, and work with them to create goals that are submitted to the courts that in the end are what provide for reunification.
You go in with an open mind. You want to be able to get a story from the parents, from their perspective as to what's going on, to be able to get all the details and feel comfortable enough to know that you have all of the information before you're making decisions.
So typically a caseload would be considered 15 children, and oftentimes we do have a little higher caseload than that. Cases can go rather quickly to permanency through guardianship or adoption, or sometimes cases can take years. Ideally, our goal in our agency is within 15 months. We try to get the child reunified, maybe get some extra supports in the house, some pop-in visits, or get an adoption through the court system. I would say it takes about a full year to really understand what your role is and how to manage your time the best.
A typical day as a family case manager at Children's is coming into the office. I will check my voicemails, my emails, make sure that there's no emergencies because we do get those from time to time on our cases. Kind of prioritizing what I think is most important and needs to be done first.
I would say my day runs about 8:30, 9 o'clock to maybe 6 on an average, but days could start at 6:30 and end at 8. Typically not in the same day, and we are able to flex our time, so the day that you do work early, you could maybe talk to your supervisor and end a little early as well.
Our job does involve face-to-face contacts with all the children on our caseloads, so we have to see them all on a regular basis, at least once a month, depending on the situation, sometimes more often than that. I try to have contact with my families all at least once a week just to check in to see how things are going, whether it's visitations that are occurring, whether it's services that they're involved in. I check in with the foster parents where the children are placed or with group homes. Making sure that there's no safety issues is obviously a priority.
Our staff, I feel, are greatly supported. Each supervisor has capped 7 people on their team, but the team is primarily mixed of veteran staff and newer trainees.
Your team is great to use as a resource and to have as that support.
We are not always in the best neighborhoods, but I'm comfortable with it because I'm confident in my ability to decide what is safe and what's not safe for myself.
As a case manager, you become definitely more aware of your surroundings, aware of the city. You learn the societal norms in different cultures.
The thing that I like is that the veteran staff, they do help the trainees, and the supervisors also rally together to help other staff members too, so there's never a time where you feel unsupported, because if you don't have your supervisor there, you can always go to another supervisor. And then we also work with other professionals like within the agency, like family support, that also help us with anything that we need.
Because there are some stressful situations when an emergency occurs, or you have an upset parent or a foster parent that maybe doesn't agree with you, and you need that support from your supervisor who can confirm why you're making that decision and affirm that you are doing your job and you're doing it right.
I feel like that has probably been the most difficult part of this job for me, is being very confident and making sure that I'm making very good decisions that are based on, or that are based in the safety of the children that we're working with, making sure that I have all of the information and it's accurate before I do decide something. I seek assistance. If I'm not comfortable doing something, I'll talk to my supervisor about it. I'll talk with my teammates or coworkers and see who's available to help me out.
Even if their neighborhood isn't the best, you know that once you reach their house, you're safe, in safe hands. You're with clients that you worked with. And if you ever are in an unsafe situation, you can excuse yourself. There are precautions that we take. Maybe visits need to be moved to an agency, not in the house. So actually safety has never been a huge concern, as I know limits and expectations of our work.
Some of us have experienced child deaths on our caseload, very ill children, children who have been seriously injured, children that go missing, or just really tough family situations that we try to help families work through. And just very difficult cases in general where we have a difficult time engaging with parents. But knowing that that's something that is part of the job, it does make it a little bit easier because you become mentally prepared for that.
Well, the new staff go through training at our partnership through UWM, and they get trained on safety and engagement and kind of our ongoing standards while transferring that learning in the agency and in the field.
What I really liked about when I started was the training program to become a case manager. It allowed me to feel secure in what I was doing. I did have a bachelor's in social work, but just the extra training made me feel confident within the city of Milwaukee and following their practices and policies. So throughout the academy, we have different trainings. Some is just the basic knowledge of our state statutes, learning about our rules and regulations, the laws that we have to follow in our role, as well as engaging lessons. So they pull in actresses and actors. We do engagement tactics with them, get parents motivated, get their response and how we made them feel, in the real life, how we could possibly make parents feel by the way we ask a question or the way we respond to something. We also did training on different factors like domestic violence or mental health. And throughout the year, as a case manager, there's different trainings you can be part of. So through the year and a half that I've been involved as a family case manager, I have definitely picked up different traits and learning tactics. And so now when I get a new case, I'm excited to know the services that they need to be able to recommend this number, because I've had experience working with another agency.
Children's Hospital does encourage licensing of the social workers, and they provide support through the licensing process. Financially, you can be reimbursed for the licensing process. In addition, if you have to take extra classes or go back to schooling, they support you in locating the school and the classes, and with reimbursement for the fees in which one would pay to attend those classes.
I started off as a family case manager right out of my undergraduate career. In 2010, I went to school for my master's, and I was greatly supported through that with through my supervisor. And then after I got my master's, I started to pursue some leadership opportunities. So there's always room for growth in this agency. If you get your name out there and you tell your supervisor or other people that you are looking for leadership roles, there's always someone that you can connect with.
Children's does have a strong history of promoting from within. They do a lot with coaching and grooming the individuals that are already involved in the organizations, and they invest a lot in the individuals in the organization to help them grow and to be able to make those career advancements.
I feel like in the last 5 years since I've been here, I've definitely grown as a person and definitely as a social worker. I did get the opportunity through Children's to be able to go back and get my master's degree through the Title IV training program at UW-Milwaukee. So I now have my master's in social work, which was awesome because my bachelor's was in criminal justice, and to get that really in-depth social work training and to be able to apply it to the job that I have been doing, I feel like I serve my clients a lot better than I was able to before.
So once you're connected to Children's Hospital, there are so many different opportunities one can have to advance their careers, whether it's in the family case management field or if you choose a different path within Children's Hospital. There's always opportunities for advancements, whether they're small advancements, taking on leadership roles and being a team leader, or larger advancements like becoming a supervisor or a manager for the team. And all of those opportunities are always available for advancement.
I would give them the advice to leave all your prejudgments at the door, because you're going to run into situations that you probably never thought that you would run into, or something that you only see in the movies. And in order to build that rapport with the client and actually have a good working relationship with them, you cannot come in there judgmental. You can't come in there with a bad attitude or the feeling that you're better than them, because they can see right through it. So your heart really has to be in it.
It's a very challenging job, but it's a very rewarding job. You really have to have a passion for social work and helping others, and you really have to be dedicated and organized.
For someone to be successful in the family case manager role, they absolutely would need to be flexible. They need to have a thicker skin, because not all cases go your way or the way in which you envision. And they need to be organized, because lots of times things move very quickly, and so it's important that you're organized and you know what's coming next.
I think a case manager really needs to be confident in what their decisions are and willing to ask for help when needed, as well as really advocate for their families when they are struggling, because we're not only working with vulnerable children, we also work with vulnerable parents, and we really need to support them and advocate for them.
My advice would be to stay the course. So when you initially get involved in family case management, there's a lot to learn in a short amount of time. Cases come in very quickly, and people tend to get discouraged when there's so much information given in a short amount of time. But if you stay the course and you put the tools in which you have to use, and you start working the cases and have those success stories, then you'll have better outcomes with the job as a whole.
I think in addition to having a big heart as a case manager, you do have to be very diligent in how you work, and you do have to be very tough and stand by the decisions that you make.
Everyone's had tough times in their life, and sometimes it's hard for people not in this field to understand how they're improving, how they are learning and becoming better parents, and getting their kids returned to their care. The best feeling is when you're able to tell parents that, you know what, we're going to go to court, we're going to submit this paperwork, we want to get the kids home, you're doing everything, you're following through, you're doing great, and we're going to get the kids home to you, and your family's going to be whole again.